this, man.
Acting like you have a choice or something. You don't.
Tulsa King, new season, now streaming only on Paramount Plus.
The streets of Tulsa are no longer quiet. The sound of gunfire echoes in the distance as Dwight, the General Manfredi, stands in the shadows, watching the city he built begin to turn against him. His empire is bleeding, betrayal has struck from within, and the ones he trusted most are now his biggest threat. In this leaked scene from Tulsa King Season 3, Episode 9, everything changes. Dwight's past catches up to him in a way he never expected, and for the first time, the King of Tulsa looks uncertain. Rain pours over New York like the sky itself is mourning. Dwight walks down the dim alley, the weight of what he's done pressing on every step. Mancuso is dead. The man who made him betrayed him and haunted him for decades. Yet, as Dwight disappears into the shadows, it doesn't feel like victory. It feels like the beginning of something darker. Across town, news spreads fast. Mancuso's death sends shockwaves through the entire underworld. Every phone buzzes, every deal freezes, every rival sharpens their knives. Dwight's face, once respected, now carries a bounty. There's no hiding this time. No Tulsa to retreat to. The general just declared war on New York itself. Meanwhile, back in Tulsa, Bodie and Mitch watch the news in disbelief. "He really did it," Bodie mutters. Mitch exhales slowly, rubbing his temples. "You don't kill a Don and walk away." They both know what's coming. Retaliation. The same network Dwight fought to escape is now closing in on everything he built. And worse, someone inside their own ranks is feeding information to the enemy. That betrayal reveals itself sooner than expected. Bodie traces an encrypted message sent from their own server, only to discover the sender. Roxy. The woman Dwight once trusted to save him was never on his side. She was working for someone else all along. The name attached to the messages sends chills through Bodie's spine. Armand Truisi. The same ghost Dwight thought was long gone. Back in New York, Dwight breaks into an abandoned loft overlooking the river. He's tired, bleeding, and alone. He opens a whiskey bottle and stares out at the skyline, the city that raised him and destroyed him. His phone vibrates. It's Tyson. The voice on the other end is shaky, panicked. "They've got me in Brooklyn. Dwight, it's not over. You were never supposed to kill Mancuso." Before Dwight can answer, the line cuts out. Something clicks in Dwight's mind. Mancuso wasn't the one behind everything. He was just the distraction. The real architect was Armand Truisi, using Mancuso and Chicky to pull Dwight out of Tulsa to make him vulnerable. By killing Mancuso, Dwight unknowingly completed the setup. Now every rival family has a reason to hunt him down. Determined to end it, Dwight tracks the signal of Tyson's phone to appear on the East River. The night is foggy, the sound of waves and faint traffic echoing in the distance. He moves quietly through the mist until he sees two silhouettes, Armand and Roxy, standing over Tyson, who's tied to a chair. Dwight steps out of the fog, gun raised. "Let him go," he growls. Armand smiles coldly. "You never learn, do you? You kill Mancuso thinking it's justice, but all you did was take his seat. You're the new Don now, Dwight, whether you like it or not." Dwight hesitates, lowering the gun slightly. "I don't want the seat." "I just want him," he says, nodding toward Tyson. Armand chuckles. "That's the problem. You want to be a good man in a dirty world, but the world doesn't let you choose." The standoff feels endless. Then, in a sudden flash, Roxy aims at Dwight. But Tyson, despite his injuries, lunges forward, knocking her off balance. A single shot rings out. Roxy collapses. Armand fires back, hitting Tyson in the shoulder. Dwight roars with fury and fires twice. The bullets strike Armand square in the chest, sending him crashing into the river below. The water swallows him whole. For a long time, there's silence. The fog drifts away. Dwight rushes to Tyson, cutting him loose. "You're going to be all right," he mutters, holding him steady. Tyson, barely conscious, whispers, "You can't win this, Dwight. They'll never let you go." Dwight doesn't answer. He just stares at the water, the surface rippling where Armand disappeared. and mutters, "I already lost." Morning breaks. Dwight and Tyson disappear from the pier, leaving nothing but empty shells and blood in the mist. The FBI arrives hours later, led by Stacy, who stares at the scene with a hollow expression. She knows Dwight was here. She can feel it. The final montage unfolds quietly. Bodhi closes the Tulsa bar one last time, removing the Manfredi Enterprises sign from the wall. Mitch burns a ledger of all their old deals. Stacy files a report but leaves Dwight's name off it. Everyone knows he's alive, but no one knows where. Then the last shot, a dusty road stretching through the Oklahoma plains. A black truck drives slowly into the horizon. Behind the wheel, Dwight stares straight ahead, his face hardened by loss but lit by a faint glimmer of peace. Tyson sleeps in the passenger seat, bandaged and breathing. Dwight takes a deep breath and says softly, "No kings, no crowns, just the road." But as the camera pans up, the radio crackles, a voice saying, "New power rises in Tulsa. The general's gone, and a new war begins." Dwight's eyes flick toward the mirror, his grip tightening on the wheel. The screen fades to black. Title card, Tulsa King. Season 3 finale tagline, "Every empire ends the way it began. In blood, the episode opens in darkness, not just literal, but emotional. Dwight is sitting alone in his office, the flicker of a dying neon sign reflecting in his eyes. The chaos from episode 8 still lingers, Chickie's betrayal, the ambush at the warehouse, and the uncertain fate of Stacy. Tulsa feels different now. Colder, emptier, as if every shadow hides an enemy. A phone buzzes on Dwight's desk. It's an unlisted number. He answers, his voice steady but heavy with exhaustion. "You started something you can't finish," the voice on the other end whispers. Dwight doesn't respond. He knows exactly who it is. Armand Truizi, the man he thought he buried years ago. The ghosts of New York are back, and they're coming for what's left of his empire. Meanwhile, Tyson and Bodhi are scrambling to contain the damage. The club's money is frozen, the supply chain has collapsed, and word on the street is that Chickie has aligned with a mysterious new partner, someone with enough reach to make Dwight's entire operation disappear overnight. Dwight's once loyal crew starts questioning everything. Loyalty doesn't pay bills, and survival means picking sides. But Dwight isn't one to go down quietly. He calls a meeting at the old stable, a symbolic place where it all began. The tension is unbearable. Bodhi argues they should lay low, Tyson insists they strike first, and Mitch warns that another move could start an all-out war. Dwight listens in silence before standing up and saying, "War's already here." That one line changes everything. From that moment, the general is back in command. Plans are set in motion, alliances are redrawn, and Tulsa's underworld braces for the kind of storm it hasn't seen since Dwight's arrival. At the same time, across town, Stacy Beale is in the hospital, barely conscious but alive. The FBI is circling, desperate to pin Dwight for the explosions and the missing shipments. She's torn between her duty and her history with him. In her moments of weakness, she still believes Dwight isn't the monster the Bureau paints him to be. But the evidence keeps piling up, and her silence may soon cost her everything. Back at the ranch, Dwight visits Emery's grave, a rare moment of vulnerability. He lays down a single rose, his voice trembling as he mutters, "I tried to build something honest for once." It's a haunting reminder that even the strongest men carry ghosts that never let go. Just when it seems Dwight might regain his footing, Bodhi rushes in with news that flips the entire story. Chickie's crew has taken Tyson. A ransom message follows. "Leave Tulsa or we send him back in pieces." Dwight's hands shake for the first time in the series. Tyson isn't just his driver, he's family. The only one who's never betrayed him. His voice turns cold, deadly even, as he says, "Tell Chickie I'm coming for him myself." The episode's leaked trailer reportedly ends right there, with Dwight loading a shotgun, walking toward his car under a crimson Oklahoma sunset. It's not just another war, it's personal now. The night settles over Tulsa like a blanket of smoke. Streetlights flicker across the empty lots, and the city feels tense, as if it knows something terrible is about to happen. Dwight drives alone through the back roads, his eyes fixed, his jaw tight. Every mile he covers brings him closer to Chicky, but also closer to the past he's been trying to bury. The general isn't running a business anymore. He's waging a personal war, and everyone in Tulsa can feel the shift. At Mitch's bar, the crew gathers in silence. Bodie is pacing, trying to trace Chicky's message through burner phones while Mitch loads a shotgun behind the counter. "You know this ain't just business anymore," Mitch says. "Once you go after Chicky, there's no coming back." Dwight lights a cigarette and answers quietly, "I already didn't come back." It's the kind of line that reminds everyone who he really is, a man shaped by loyalty, regret, and revenge. Meanwhile, Tyson's situation worsens. He's tied up in an abandoned motel on the edge of town, guarded by two of Chicky's men, Marco and Lino, old soldiers from the New York days. Tyson, bloodied but defiant, spits out the words, "You think Dwight's gonna let this slide? He's coming for you?" Marco laughs, but there's fear in his eyes. Everyone knows Dwight's reputation. When he makes a promise, someone usually ends up dead. Back at the bar, Bodie finally cracks the signal. The call came from a warehouse near the outskirts. The same one Chicky used years ago to store smuggled cash. Dwight's expression hardens. That place isn't just familiar, it's a graveyard of old sins. He gathers his crew, but Mitch hesitates. "You're walking into a setup," he warns. Dwight simply replies, "Then I'll bring the storm to their doorstep." As they gear up, a new player enters the scene. Roxy, the woman Dwight once trusted as an informant. She shows up unexpectedly, offering intel that could change the game. "Chicky's not alone," she says. "There's someone behind him." Someone pulling strings from New York. Dwight doesn't react, but deep inside, he knows only one man has the power to do that. Don Charles the Don Mancuso, the last surviving boss from Dwight's old circle. The war isn't just about Tulsa anymore. It's about revenge reaching all the way back to New York's underworld. The next sequence builds tension like a ticking clock. Dwight and his men approach the warehouse at midnight. The camera would have followed his boots crunching through gravel, the echo of each step growing louder. Bodie stays behind, monitoring from a van, whispering coordinates through an earpiece. Dwight pauses outside the door, shotgun ready, eyes steady. Then, a light flickers inside. What happens next feels like slow-motion chaos. The door bursts open and a storm of bullets erupts. Dwight dives for cover, firing back with deadly precision. The air is filled with smoke, shouting, and the metallic echo of gunfire. Tyson manages to break free amid the chaos, grabbing a pistol from one of the guards. He spots Dwight and shouts, "Behind you!" Dwight spins just in time to take down Marco, the last shooter. The silence that follows feels heavier than the gunfire itself. For a brief moment, it seems over. Dwight pulls Tyson to his feet, relief flashing across his face. But then, a slow clap echoes from the shadows. Chicky steps out, smirking, blood on his shirt and eyes burning with hatred. "You always thought you were smarter, huh, old man?" he sneers. Dwight keeps his gun aimed but doesn't shoot. Chicky continues, "You don't even realize you were never the target." Before Dwight can react, an explosion tears through the warehouse. The blast throws everyone to the ground. Flames, debris, and dust fill the air. Bodie screams through the comms, "It's a trap!" They planted charges. The screen cuts to black for several seconds. Just the sound of fire crackling and distant sirens. When the smoke clears, Dwight is crawling out, blood running down his face. Tyson is barely conscious beside him. The warehouse is gone. Chicky has vanished. And in the chaos, Dwight finds something. A charred envelope with a New York address and 3 words written in ink. "He's coming home." Those words change everything. Dwight finally realizes this war isn't about Tulsa at all. It's a message, a warning from New York that the real enemy isn't Chicky. Someone far more dangerous has entered the game, and they're calling Dwight back to where it all began. As the sirens close in and the night burns behind him, Dwight looks at the city one last time and mutters, "Tulsa was just the beginning." The next morning, the world wakes up to the aftermath of the explosion. News channels report a massive fire on the outskirts of Tulsa, calling it a suspected gang conflict. The FBI is all over the scene, and Stacy Beale, still recovering in the hospital, sees Dwight's name flashing on the news ticker. Her hands tremble as she turns off the TV. She knows Dwight's still alive. She knows he's running again, but this time she also knows he's going after someone even the Bureau fears. Meanwhile, Dwight sits quietly on a train bound for New York. His face is bruised, his clothes burnt, but his eyes, those eyes burn with purpose. The envelope from the wreckage lies open beside him. The address inside leads to a high-end restaurant in Brooklyn, Cicero's, a place that once hosted every major figure in the old New York mob scene. Now it belongs to Don Mancuso, the man who once treated Dwight like a son, and then ordered his exile to Tulsa. As the train rattles through the night, flashbacks fill Dwight's mind. His first job for Mancuso, his loyalty, his years in prison. He remembers every betrayal, every lie, every face he trusted that later turned on him. The flashbacks end with Mancuso's voice echoing in his head, "A king without a kingdom is just another old man." When he finally steps off the train, New York greets him with cold wind and old ghosts. The skyline hasn't changed, but the city feels smaller, meaner. Dwight calls Bodie from a payphone, giving one final order. "Keep the crew safe. If I don't make it back, you know what to do." Bodie's voice breaks. "Dwight, don't do this alone." Dwight simply says, "There's some debts only I can collect." The next scene unfolds inside Cicero's. It's empty except for Mancuso sitting at a corner table with a glass of wine. He's older now, but still sharp, still dangerous. Dwight walks in without a word, the sound of his boots echoing through the silence. For a long moment, neither man speaks. Then Mancuso smiles faintly. "So the general returns," he says. "I was wondering how long before you crawled back." Dwight sits down opposite him, calm but coiled with rage. "You sent Chicky," he says. "You lit my city on fire." Mancuso chuckles, swirling his wine. "You built an empire on my money, in my name, and expected me to just clap from afar? You forgot your place, Dwight. You forgot who made you." Dwight leans forward, voice low but lethal. "I built something real. You destroyed it because you can't stand to see someone do better than you." Mancuso's smile fades. "You were never better? You were my soldier? You just started believing your own legend?" The tension thickens. Two guards step from the shadows, but Dwight doesn't flinch. "You gonna hide behind them?" he asks. "Or are you gonna finish what you started?" Mancuso waves his hand, dismissing the guards. The old mob code still means something between them. What follows is one of the most intense conversations of the entire season. Not a gunfight, but a battle of words and will. Mancuso accuses Dwight of betrayal, of stealing his network, of turning on family. Dwight fires back, saying he took ashes and built something new while Mancuso sat in luxury, watching everyone else die or rot. Their words are like bullets, every sentence a wound that reopens the past. Then Mancuso leans in and says quietly, "You think Tulsa was your empire? That was my gift to you. Exile dressed as freedom. But you turned it into a war, and now everyone you love will pay the price." He slides a photo across the table. Tyson bleeding, tied up again, this time in New York. The air goes still. Dwight's breathing slows. He realizes Mancuso had Tyson taken after the explosion. The warehouse wasn't the end, it was bait. Dwight stands up, his voice trembling with fury. "You crossed a line you can't come back from," Mancuso smirks. "I crossed it a long time ago. The question is, will you?" In that moment, Dwight's entire journey flashes before him. His years in prison, his loyalty, his dreams of redemption. He reaches into his coat and places his gun on the table, not as a threat, but as a challenge. "This ends tonight," he says. Mancuso looks at the gun, then at Dwight. "You think killing me changes anything? The next man's already waiting to take my chair. You kill me, and you just become me." For a long moment, Dwight says nothing. Then he whispers, "Maybe that's the point." Before Mancuso can react, Dwight pulls the trigger once. clean, final, and cold. The sound echoes through Cicero's, then silence. Mancuso falls forward, lifeless. Dwight stares at him, expression unreadable. He doesn't look proud, he doesn't look relieved. Just empty. As he walks out into the night, sirens begin to wail in the distance. He disappears into a rain-soaked alley, the city lights glinting off the puddles like broken glass. The war is over. Or so it seems, but in a nearby car, a silhouette watches Dwight vanish into the darkness and whispers into a phone, "He took the bait." Proceed to phase 2. The camera lingers on the license plate. Tulsa.